The Tower of Babel. Everyone knows that story. But what if I told you it wasn't just about language? What if there was more going on beneath the surface? If you want to know the real reason God confused the languages at Babel, stay tuned because in today's episode, we are going all the way back to the dawn of human history for the real origin of languages. Before we get into this, please like and subscribe. And let me tell you, this is one crazy story. See, in Jubilees, the flood is seen as a punishment for the people living in the generation of the Tower of Babel, but also a reward for the righteous man Noah, who was born 365 years after Adam. But in Jubilees, things are much more violent. Here, God sends angels to fight, and they literally use their rods or their mouths to scatter the people. And then God instructs these same angels to kill the Babylonians. Even if humans unite and decide to attack him directly, we can never win. They were invading heaven. Do you think God was justified in his actions? If he didn't step in, what do you think would have happened? Would the people reached heaven? Could they have defeated God? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. He will always come out on top, and this was a warning to other nations. Click the link and watch one of those next. You can find links to both of those videos below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next upload. And remember, be nice to each other. We are family here. If Babylon acted this way, this is what would happen. Other empires throughout history should take heed and not try to mess with God. And again, it's pretty graphic how he tells them to do it. The Babylonians are being punished for their sins. Theirs was a lost cause. The angels were sent to deal with them, and they did exactly that. Now, if you notice, I left out a few parts of the passage, and that's because some of it is a bit explicit and really graphic, and I didn't feel like that was appropriate for this channel. This comes from a book called Jubilees. Jubilees is an ancient text written in the style of Genesis. There are three key differences between the Tower of Babel story in Jubilees and the one in Genesis. No. 1. The people at Babel aren't just building a tower, they are invading heaven and settle in different parts of the world, and that is how the world gets populated. But in Jubilees, there's no migration. Everyone stays right where they are. The story doesn't end with people scattering. It ends with the angels smiting people, destroying them. Fire, sword, and pestilence are raining down on the people who are locked in their sinful state. Only 8 righteous men are saved, making this one of the oldest extra-biblical accounts of the Great Flood. The main character in the story doesn't seem to be Nimrod, the king of Babylon, but rather unnamed tyrant kings and princes from all around the world, united under the banner of war, and they set out to wage war against God himself. Verse 5 says they were trying to make a name for themselves. Why? Because they thought they were doing things themselves and God would catch wind of it, and that might possibly earn him their respect. Instead, they forced God's hand. He had to prove once and for all that he was in control. Their hubris and insolence pushed God to show them who was really in charge. And it came to pass when men began to multiply upon the earth, and they were born sons of God and daughters of men. In those days, there was war in the world, and there was one great confederation against the whole earth. They said, "Let us make a name for ourselves before it is too late, and let us build a tower whose top may reach into heaven itself. And let us take bricks for ourselves, for lime and for mortar, and let us build a city and let its towers touch the sky. Let us ascend and go up there. Let us climb up aloft and be like the Most High. Oh, if only we could ascend with men to God, be in heaven, and behold the place where he judges and the place of judgment." So they began to build the tower. Some scholars believe it to be part of the ancient Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament. And lo, the angels of the Lord came down and stood in the midst of the tower and smote them with the rod of their mouths and scattered them abroad. They went out and dwelt in the isles of the sea and in the mountains and in all the plains of the earth. And they made for themselves villages and cities, and they multiplied and became exceedingly wicked. And they were turned towards evil, and did unrighteousness, and wickedness, and sin in all their thoughts. Then the Most High said, Let me send them a scourge according to all that they have done. Lo, they have wrought great corruption on earth, and there the iniquity of man has become great before me. Come, ye sons of God, show yourselves mighty and strong, smite and destroy them. The Most High said unto them, Smite the earth with pestilence, fire and sword among them. And they smote them until the appointed time of rest, and so men perished. And others believe it is part of what we would call today the Dead Sea Scrolls, perhaps even written by someone who actually saw the scrolls. There's some debate over that. It's not considered canonical scripture by any branch of Judaism or Christianity, but it's still a very interesting book with some pretty wild stories. The chapter we are looking at is Jubilees chapter 10, verses 18 to 27, and here's how it goes. And it came to pass when they had built the tower and made its top like unto the highest heavens, that they ascended in it. But 8 righteous men were saved by water, which means this story is also responsible for giving us Noah's Ark. Now, as you can see, this version of the Tower of Babel story is very different than the one we heard in Sunday school. Now, to God's reaction. In the Genesis account, he simply confounds their languages so that they stop working together and the project is never finished. No, 3. The aftermath. In the traditional telling, after the languages are confused, people migrate. This story shows us that God will always be God. Here's the hook line. They weren't building a tower to touch heaven. If you haven't seen my videos on the true origins of Christmas or Easter, now is the time.